What's up, guys? Welcome back! Your Alpha is here. How's my pack members doing out there? Mumford and Kidded. And today, guys, once again, still dedicating some vids to my Aussie pack members. Much love and respect to them. Um, I get a lot of comments from my Aussie pack members and just genuine love and respect, and then, and I'm not saying that I don't get it from anybody else, but my Aussie pack members seem to get my sense of humor more. They get my sense of humor more, or they just find my geekiness a lot more understanding, and that's cool. So to all my Aussie pack members, good day, as always. And so today, once again, we're gonna watch some more urban legends from your country. Once again, I was intrigued by the first vid from Most Amazing. Granted, guys, remember I have not watched these, so these are first and new for me. But the first one we saw that Danny Burke talked about had a lot of ghost urban legends from your country, and I'm into the paranormal. I believe in it. I'm a big believer in it. I do believe there are ghosts and spirits and stuff like that, and just a lot of things like that. I'm not saying I don't believe in it, but it was really cool to see Mr. Burke talk about that, and I thought it was great. I reacted like, yo, you hear this? Like the one with the girl that will jump in your car, and and she, if you don't tell her to leave, she'll take over your car. I'm like, what the heck? Stuff like that, but yeah, we're gonna watch part 2 to this. I hope you guys enjoy. To all my Aussie pack members, thank you, and this is for you guys. So let's do it. Here we go. All right, here we go. Let's do this and go.
Hello everyone, today we are returning to the Land Down Under Fire Urban Legends series. Australia isn't just scary because of all the scary animals and spiders that could kill you, it's also got a lot of paranormal, supernatural,
y'all got a lot of deadly spiders down there. I ain't, especially that big,
Let's take a look at
big giant one I seen.
My name is Danny Burke. This is the top 10 scary Australian urban legends.
And see, this music don't be helping either.
We have A Devil Among Us. This is a very famous story coming from Sydney, and one that many locals know about, even if they wish they didn't. On June 9th, 1979, the Godson family were waiting at the Circular Quay for a ferry to take them out to Sydney's Luna Park. Out of nowhere, they were approached by a satanic-looking figure wearing a loincloth, mask, and horned headdress. This being posed for a photo with 6-year-old Damien and the family. Tragically, it will be the last picture ever of the boy. Later that night, while they were at Luna Park, a fire broke out on the ghost train ride, killing the entire Godson family. During the investigation, police found this picture and wanted to ask the horned man some questions. However, nobody knew who he was or where to find him, and he was never seen again. This left room for a legend to grow, that the devil himself was walking on the streets of Sydney that day.
That's sick right there, man.
And always dressed in costume so that his horns don't look out of place. Next up at number 9 now, we have Bodies in the Bridge. Sydney Harbour Bridge was completed in 1932, but
that's that famous bridge.
Price, it seems. Records show that 16 people died during its construction, but there were also 3 that were supposedly covered up. Legend says that those 3 workers fell from the bridge, and their disappearance wasn't even noticed because they were temporary workers on the site. Their bodies fell into the pylons of the bridge. The bosses deemed the bodies too difficult to retrieve, and so they continued to build a bridge around their bodies. This urban legend has persisted in Sydney in the decades since, with many people swearing that it's true. They say it's the reason the bridge is actually haunted, and also that they try to not cross the bridge for fear of the workers' spirits rising up and taking their revenge.
See, more spirits. You see that?
Moving on to number 8 now, we have the Crown Casino Morgue. This one is really strange. The Crown Casino is one of the most famous ones in Melbourne. Looking at pictures, you would think it was just a luxurious party hub.
That's a morgue?
Stories attached to it. Me too, that's what I thought, but you are wrong. You see, for many years now, people have been convinced that below the casino, full of gamblers and partiers, there is a morgue for storing human bodies. They say the last stall in every bathroom there is always occupied because it's not actually a bathroom stall. Apparently, there are actually exits that lead to secret hallways which lead to a huge morgue underneath the casino. Legend says that the staff use this system to discreetly move suicide victims who have ended their lives due to heavy gambling losses. This grisly system is supposed to stop other gamblers from seeing the bodies and being put off the casino. I personally find casinos quite creepy and depressing places, but really, an underground morgue? What do you guys think? Maybe people doubting it really is the perfect cover. At number 7 now, we have the Westfall UFO. Most countries have their UFO stories. This one might be Australia's most famous. It happened on April 6, 1966. Yes, that is 3 6s. At 11 AM for about 20 minutes, more than 200 students and teachers claimed they saw a UFO descend into a grass field known as the Grange. Some students described it as a grey saucer-shaped craft with a slight purple hue. It was about twice the size of a family car. Others described it differently and said it was more silvery green in colour. Some even said that as it sped away, the craft was chased by 5 unidentified aircraft which circled the object. In the 50 years since then, many of the witnesses have kept in touch and reaffirmed what they all saw with each other, despite their own friends and even family not believing them. At the time, a local TV station called Channel 9 said they had footage of the incident, but when they went to go and find the film canister in the archives, it was mysteriously empty. Now, witnesses believe there has been a cover-up.
It's a cover. I smell a cover-up. Yep.
To see something and be mistaken, but with 200 people all seeing the same event, this story even has skeptics around the world.
Yeah,
buddy.
On to
number 6 now, we have the burning Airman. If you head to Canberra in Australia,
this is old. We heard this one already.
The burning Airman. Back in 1940, a Lockheed Hudson II bomber spiraled out of control and crashed into the forest near Canberra. There were 6 crew members on board. Sadly, none of them survived the crash. That would have been the end of it, but then, a few years later, locals reported seeing strange happenings near the crash site. Many people claimed to have seen unearthly lights in the sky. Sometimes they'd also hear the sound of a plane getting closer to the ground, but when they went out to go and check, there was nothing there. Then they saw the burning man. The first sighting of this strange being was by a local teenage girl. One night the girl ran screaming from the forest. She said she was being followed by an airman who was covered in flames. The being followed her to the edge of the forest, but for some reason it could walk no further and disappeared off into the night. Since then, a number of people have reported seeing the burning man walking towards them in the woods. Does it have evil intentions? Is he simply a lost spirit trying to move on to the afterlife? His scary appearance may mean nobody will ever get close enough to find out. Moving on to number 4 now, we have Fisher's ghost. Some say this is actually Australia's most famous ghost story. In June 1842, an ex-convict named Frederick Fisher vanished from his farm in Campbelltown, west of Sydney. It was a mystery. The police could find no trace of him. The house lay empty for a while, and then one day another ex-convict arrived at the house. His name was George Worrell. He claimed that Fisher had returned to England and had left the farm to him in a letter. 4 months later, a friend of Fisher's named John Farley burst into the local hotel in the town and cried out that he had just seen Fisher's ghost sitting by the river. He said that he tried to get closer to the ghost, but his horse reared back and wouldn't go any further. He said the ghost was trying to draw his attention to something near the river. A search party went out there and found Fisher's remains buried in a shallow grave near the edge of the river where the ghost had been pointing. Suspicion turned towards Worrell, who was living in Fisher's house. They arrested him, whereupon he confessed to the murder of Fisher. He was tried and then hanged for his crime. Ever since then, Campbelltown annually celebrates the festival of Fisher's ghost, where they remember the tale of a spirit that helped solve its own murder. Moving on to number 3 now, we have Picktons Ghost Town. This is a town about 80
y'all see this, right? All these ghosts.
It has earned quite a reputation for its links with the supernatural. It's home to the famous Red Bank Range Railway Tunnel. It's steeped in history. It was used to store mustard gas tanks during World War II and was even a mushroom farm at one point, but that's not why we are visiting it today. In 1916, a local girl called Emily Bollard was walking through the tunnel late at night when she was hit by a train and killed. Some say it was suicide, others say it was just a tragic accident, but ever since then, things haven't been the same. In a century since, locals have reported seeing a white figure floating in the tunnel. She has no face. There's also been reports of light floating above people's heads, sudden drops in temperature, black shadows darting around, and even ghostly children appearing and laughing. They say Emily is more likely to appear if there is a psychic or clairvoyant around, but she has been known to appear to the average person, especially if they visit alone and at night. At number 2 now, we have the glowing cross of Lismore. For this one, we're going way back to 1907 to the town of Lismore in New South Wales. 29-year-old railway worker William Steenson was on duty when he tried to stop a runaway train with his bare hands.
Wait, what?
He was run over and killed.
Wait,
William was
why?
buried in the cemetery,
Why would
and
you
his
do
family
that?
erected a crucifix of granite above his grave. That would have been the end of the story, but then 11 years later, something strange began to happen with the granite cross. It began to glow. One by one, the whole town came to see this. William Steenson's cross had a brilliant white hue coming from every inch of it.
That's real footage right there?
The ghost of the hill. Over the next 60 years, news of this glowing cross began to spread more across Australia. Reporters, investigators and tourists poured in to see the glowing cross. Some of them said it could be radioactive, others said it was just a reflection. Nobody was ever going to figure it out though, because in 1986 the cross disappeared. Some say it was a theft by robbers who wanted this famous object for themselves.
Stealing a cross.
It was a
what do people think of next?
Either
really?
Way, the cross was replaced with a replica which never glowed at all. That was over 30 years ago, but the legend of the glowing cross is still talked about to this day. And finally, at number 1 now, we have the Guyra Mystery. On the 8th of December 1999, an unidentified object crashed into the small town of Guyra. It completely flattened an area about 52 by 20 feet across and then plunged into the water. By the time anyone could get to the site, the object had already sunk beneath the mud. Immediately, rumors started spreading. Some said it was a UFO, space junk, a meteorite, a NASA craft returning from Mars, frozen sewage, or perhaps just a hoax. Either way, something needed to be done. The object had crashed into the town's water supply, so they cut it off to stop potential contamination. Police divers recovered material from below the mud. Geologists said it was just a meteorite, and none of the wild theories were true that people had come up with. However, those same people were not happy with the official explanation. They point to all the witness reports of a large object and a mysterious 120-foot gouge in the reed beds. They also say the burn marks left in the area are not normally associated with meteorite impacts. To put it simply, they believe there was a cover-up of a real UFO crash landing in this little Australian town, and now the stories are all people have to go on. Well guys, I think that was another great trip to the land down under.
Okay. The one that kind of creeps me out the most is the one with the devil one. That's creepy. And with the Burning Man we heard before, that's kind of sick as well. But once again, like I said, you see a lot of ghost ones, and it's very interesting indeed. Very intriguing, especially the bridge one. I mean, first of all, building bridges is scary enough as it is. I mean, you're constructing a large piece of metal. Some are very high, some are very tall. It doesn't matter. I mean, I live in New York, period. So there are a lot of bridges all over. So I know bridges, like there's enough. And the stories you heard from them, like the Brooklyn Bridge, you know, how many people have died building that bridge, and you know, you got the Queensboro Bridge, the George Washington Bridge, the Verrazzano Bridge, all these different bridges. And they're very they don't. I'm not scared of them, but it's just I'm just looking at it from a point of view of erecting them. Like how people do that, and not. You got to be pretty brave. And the Sydney Bridge, the bridge that famous bridge you see in Sydney and you can see the famous Opera House in the back. So that's always a very beautiful image when you see that, especially at night. I've seen Googled like night images of Sydney with that site, and it's beautiful. I'm like, that looks pretty. So to hear that's sick, man. and people say it's haunted. Like, could you imagine like you walking across that bridge and at night, and all of a sudden you see a man or whatever walk, and he's not looking at you, but he's got his head down, and you walk right by, and it's just like, and he may bump into you, but you're like, I'm sorry, don't even answer you. Next, just think about stuff like that is creepy. But yeah, man. Another good one. This was fun. This was very interesting to hear. Um, once again, just very interested hearing these urban legends from the land down under. Um, Durningberg said something about Australia is already as dangerous as it is with the different animals that can kill you. um, and yeah, it is true. I mean, Australia does have a lot of dangerous animals, but they're very exotic and pretty as well. But I will admit, the one that intrigues me the most in terms of dangerous is that giant spider that I've seen before. I think it's like this big, and it's a bird spider or something like that. It captures birds, and there was a video on here on YouTube that they showed it, and you could see the shadow silhouette of it. It was outside this guy's home, and you could see it. It was the silhouette just looked huge, and I'm like, Jesus, could you imagine that was inside the house? But that doesn't fear me. I ain't afraid of that. I'm more intrigued to like I said, this does not deter me, guys, from visiting your country. So don't even fret with that one. I still want to go. Like I said, it's on my bucket list. Before I die, before I leave this earth, I want to be down there, and I don't care how long it takes, but I want to be down there. Anyway, you guys take care. I'll see you guys next time. There's one more, and we're gonna do it. Remember, guys, this is dedicated for you, my Aussie Pack members. Maybe I'll do some more dedication vids for other pack members from around the world. I know I got a lot of Aussies, and I think I got a lot of Brits. So maybe I'll give my Brits a few if that's okay with you. I'll stop. Y'all take care.